I never even thought that I would be sat here on the 8th of July in my coat. Can you believe it? What is the weather at the moment in the UK? It's absolutely terrible. It's raining today, it's 12 degrees Celsius, and it's just absolutely crazy. It's just a slug party everywhere, and it seems like nothing's really growing. This has to be the worst year on the allotment in 5 years. I'm not over exaggerating there. It just seems like everything's going wrong. Everything's getting attacked and eaten. We've only really harvested potatoes, strawberries, raspberries, a few carrots, a bit of lettuce and the garlic. That is pretty much it. We've not really harvested much else. It just seems to be problem after problem really. It's very frustrating and disheartening to say the least. And I don't want to sound too dramatic, but this year has been very close to breaking me and making me give up completely for this growing season. The other week I was just thinking of packing most of the allotment up and just growing a few things and just leaving it till next year, because it's been so wet, so cool, not only for the last few months but for the entire winter and for most of the spring. It's just been wet and cool. Climate change. We thought that things were improving last week when we did have a few days of warm weather, like 27 degrees, balmy conditions, at least compared to what we're used to anyway. Yeah, that was much better. Only lasted for around 3 days. Things were growing a little bit. We did see some improvements, but it just seems like things have just completely slowed down again. Anyway, we'll have a look around the allotment and see what's going on. See if there have been any improvements. I'll have to warn you though, it does look terrible for the most part. A lot of things don't look very good. The plot is a little bit messy in some areas, and if this growing season is also terrible for you as well, I hope this video makes you feel better. You're not the only one. Many other gardeners are having the same issues as well. We're all in the same boat. We're all having a rough growing season. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking now and we'll go around the allotment. I think it's stopped raining now, so we'll make it quick if we can. Let's go around the allotment and see what's going on this week. I do hope you enjoy. Okay, tell you what guys, it's a really warm day for January. Yeah, it's not very warm today. Considering it's July, honestly, you'd think it was early spring. We've got these mesembryanthemums over here. I'm putting them into here. I need to do a skip run. Got a bit of rubbish there which I need to take. And over here, I've done a lot of de-weeding on this side of the plot over this week. There was quite a lot of weeds. I've cleared them there. I've got a pile of them at the moment. Yeah, I had to clear a lot of weeds over here. It does look much better now. Got all these black currants over here, which we've picked quite a few black currants off actually. The sweet peas, finally, they're actually doing something. Although there's not really enough to pick a nice bunch of sweet peas for a vase yet. There's only a few flowers on there. There are some more sweet pea plants on this side, although they're not doing much at all really. They're quite disappointing. It's been the worst year for sweet peas. Usually by now they would be right at the top of there and they'd be full of flowers by now, but it seems to be completely different this year. Although I think by August these will probably be doing much better along this side. The ones over here, absolutely nothing, except for the one plant. There's always one of them has decided to go for it, the rest of them not, which is really funny. The onions, nothing to report really with those. They look the exact same as they did last week, and I don't think we're going to get anything from these, sad to say. The leeks still doing nicely, no change really for those. They look the exact same as last week. I need to do another de-weeding session down here. I did that last week and again the weeds are back. The onions in the front bed, I think some of them are doing alright, some of them are picking up a little bit, but most of them look terrible. This is another reason why I'm not using horse manure, by the way. The wood shavings in the manure, the weeds, so many weeds. Really is a huge hassle, and it's really annoying. Really big problem with the weeds. And then of course there's the herbicide as well. Honestly, I'm blaming the horse manure for a lot of things this year. Let's have a look at the courgettes. Something keeps digging in this bed. A rat or a mouse or something. There were a few yellowing leaves earlier on. The newer growth looks much better though, and I think they're going to start climbing soon. They'll be able to start climbing up this support system here. So they're not doing too badly, I suppose. There's a couple of bush courgettes on the other side, which I think they're trying to throw some courgettes out now. Yeah, they are slowly starting. They don't really look much different from last week, and we've not picked any courgettes off this yet, and it's the 8th of July. You know, I want to start seeing some courgettes soon. I'm not even going to go over the strawberry cage because that is just... I'm just going to restart the whole thing again. It's just full of weeds. I'm going to have to replant strawberries in here. I'm going to have to do something with that. I think the soil underneath the fabric is way too wet, way too heavy, and the strawberries have all just died, and then the weeds are taken over. Funnily enough, the weeds grow fine in there, but the strawberries don't. Isn't that typical? Our set grown onions, I've already de-weeded in here last week, and again the weeds have come back. The onions are actually bolting, and yeah, it's just a disaster in there, to be honest. I think we've lost half of the onions, and they've just been demolished by slugs, which is really strange because slugs and onions are actually toxic to slugs. But you know, we've had loads of them attacked. Even the seed grown onions got demolished by the slugs a couple of months ago. I don't know why they're eating them. It's really silly, but you know. Let's have a look at these. I've not really shown you these this year. We've got our apple tree and our plum tree. Now there are a few plums on the plum tree, only a couple. I mean, I'm happy with that, I'll take that. These trees were planted in 2021. This apple tree here, something's tried attacking that one. That's fine, I mean, it needs thinning out, I suppose, anyway. It looks like the birds or something's already done that for me, because we've definitely lost a few apples on this tree. Yeah, some of them are rotting on the tree there. That's not good, is it? There's a rotten one there, which is also making the one next to it go rotten. Oh dear, that's a shame. I put that down to the wet weather. Probably is the wet weather, but this is a really nice variety of apple. It's called Discovery. Really lovely apples. Hopefully we get a few of those this year. Okay, looks really grim round here at the moment. I need to have a good sort out around here. The carrots, I did plant some more carrots in here, but there's no signs of those yet. I have to say, these ones do look better. Hopefully we can pick some of those soon, actually. They do look pretty good. I'm quite happy with those. Good result in the end with the carrots in that bed, I think. I had a good de-weeding session in this asparagus bed. Blimey, it was terrible in there. It really had a lot of weeds. Not really what you want with your asparagus, because I know the asparagus plants don't like any root disturbance. We've got a lot of mare's tail in there. Really, it's completely riddled with mare's tail. It's just terrible. Anyway, we've got most of the weeds out of there. Probably time to pick our elephant garlic soon, I think. Actually, should we pull one up now? I think we should. I'll tell you what, we'll pull this one up. yeah, okay, not too bad. I think they were approaching harvest time. The leaves are going yellow. That's not a bad size. Bear in mind I've got big hands. Yeah, not too bad at all. Our normal garlic did pretty well this year as well, better than last year. Last year was a blimmin' disaster, but this year I'm quite happy with how the garlic's done. Much bigger than last year's. Another courgette plant there. A couple of courgettes on there actually. The plant itself doesn't look great. I'm not too sure about that one. It's not very bushy. Seems the leaves are a bit small. There are a couple of courgettes, but we'll see what happens with that over the next few weeks. We planted some pumpkins in this bed here. I think there's a couple of squashes mixed in there as well, and they are doing nothing at all, and they've gone really yellow. They look terrible. I'm not expecting these to do much. There's no signs of these late... Oh no, actually there is signs of these ones. I put a few late plantings of potatoes in this bed. I did it the lazy way, just put straw over them. I literally just threw the potatoes on top, threw loads of straw on, and we've got signs of them there. It is very late, but hopefully we can get a late harvest of potatoes from that. As for our actual main crop potatoes, which we planted in April, they're doing lovely, really good. I've taken off loads of flowers. I'm still taking them off actually, there to encourage tuber growth, focus the energy into the potatoes. I've topped most of these up now with more compost because I only had them around 2/3 full, so that's fine. It's just an absolute jungle there, but they are doing really, really well. We've got some dwarf beans here, which I actually picked a couple of beans off the other day. Literally a couple, like 2 beans, which it's not really going to cut the mustard, is it? I think we need more than that for tea. Yeah, they don't look too bad at all. I think we'll be able to pick some more of them actually. Yeah, I think we could pick those. It's not too bad. We'll come back and pick those afterwards. Our climbing beans aren't really doing much at all. Really disappointing with these. In fact, half of these beans don't look very good either, these dwarf beans. A lot of them do have beans on, but the plants don't look brilliant really. I'd expect them to be bushier and a bit more lush than that. But yeah, the climbing beans, there's a couple of plants here which have beans on. They have flowers on them. The beans on the other side over there are climbing up. See, they are climbing around halfway up now. These are climbing up nicely. I think these were the re-sowing ones. These were ones that are replanted. These were not the herbicide affected ones. The herbicide affected ones have stayed small and they're not growing any taller. But that's fine. We do have some starting to take off, and we have planted some more in pots in the greenhouse, so I probably will be sticking a few more in here, and hopefully we can get a handful of beans. I think we will get something from these. It's just, will we get them before the first frost? We'll see. More beans. As I said, beans then. More potatoes. Lots of flowers on there, which means the tubers are starting to grow, which means they're going to be using a lot of water. I'm picking all these off as I see them. That's fine. I'm going to let a couple of bunches of flowers produce fruit though, because I want to try growing potatoes from seeds next year, just as an experiment to see what happens. I'm not expecting much, but I want to experiment with that. Anyway, they're looking really good. I filled the rest of these up with compost as well, right to the top. It's fine. I've got loads of blueberries on the go over here. I think there's one ready to harvest there. Yeah, there we go. There you go, one blueberry. Lovely. Can't see any other ones ripe yet though. Okay, let's have a look in the small greenhouse. What's going on in here? Still looking really good in here. Really impressed with how these are growing. Although the other tomatoes in the other greenhouses aren't looking good. This one doesn't look very good. This one's a bit yellow. Not too sure what's going on there. I have given them a feed. All the flowers are popping off that one. Maybe too much water? Perhaps. I know that this bed on this side is much more moist than this one. It's like a lot of water pools behind here. There's a lot of water behind here, behind the greenhouse. I think it might be absorbing into here. Perhaps. We feel it. Yeah, it does feel very moist in there. Maybe I'll have to lay off the water in. I think that might be what's happening there. The other ones look alright though. These are looking pretty nice. Look at how many flowers are on there. Loads of flowers on there, that's good. Loads of flowers on here. There's a few tomatoes on the go as well there. Same here as well, some more cherry tomatoes there. Excellent. Lots more flowers appearing. Bit of yellowing on there, but nothing major. And then here as well. Not looking too bad at all. There's 6 cherry tomato plants in here altogether. And honestly, the marigolds look brilliant. Marigolds are doing really well in there. So yeah, quite happy with that in there. But I don't know why. A couple of plants are starting to yellow a bit. But we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, the lettuce bed. A lot of them are starting to bolt now. But that's fine. We've got a few more here which can be harvested. We've got a couple of heads of baby gem at home which we harvested the other day. All the rockets started bolting over here for some reason. We planted some more modules of salad, some lettuce in the greenhouse. So once they grow, we'll transplant these into here and we can get some more pickings of those. This herb bed, well, it was a herb bed, we're not really using it anymore. I need to completely revamp this area. It's got all these chives and oregano growing everywhere. Now we have broccoli growing there, but they're not very big. Plants look terrible, to be honest. They're going a bit yellow. A lot of the leaves have been eaten. Even the broccoli itself has been eaten a little bit. The heads aren't very big at all. Hopefully we can get some small broccoli heads, pick them off, and it will start to send out more shoots of broccoli afterwards. So hopefully we'll get some like tender stem broccoli pickings off these. We'll see. Our peas, it's an absolute massacre in there. We have picked some peas. We've had a few pickings and we've eaten some and they've been nice. There's lots and lots of slug damage. They've all fallen over. I probably should have done more to support them. But there's plenty of pea pods which you can pick there, so that's a good result, I suppose. But the plants are pretty much finished now, really. Let's have a look at the onions in the third bed. The 2 beds at the front aren't looking very good. Last week we noticed an improvement with these ones, and yeah, they are looking much better. Some of them are starting to swell a little bit. That's like the best looking onion in the bed. I'm a bit concerned that the downy mildew is going to come along and start affecting these. Around mid-July we start to get mildew, and it's been very wet, so I'm expecting to see mildew or white rot at some point, so I'm keeping an eye out for that. Got some sweet corn, which is growing really nicely actually. It's definitely bigger than last week. They're doing pretty well there. I'm surprised that they are growing, seeing as it's been really cool, and this is a shady part of the allotment as well. Look at all these trees, which the council need to chop down, by the way. They're supposed to be doing that. They've been saying it for a long time, because a couple of them are leaning very dangerously over, and it's actually leaning over to my shed. Can't really see it in the video, but they are leaning over really badly. One of them came down over there last week, sorry, about 6 weeks ago. Big tree fell down on someone's plot down there. And another neighbour over there last year or the year before had a tree come down on his. So I'm next if they don't sort these out. And the shade as well. A lot of shade from those trees at the moment. Anyway, let's move on to the beetroot. Not too bad at all, really. Not harvest size yet, but they are growing. We had quite a few of them bolt. It doesn't look like any more of them are bolting though. They don't look too bad at all. So yeah, I think we'll have some good harvests of beetroot soon, hopefully. A couple more potatoes there, early potatoes. We harvested those the other week, but I'm still going to leave a few to harvest later. Right, cabbages. Now, these don't look too bad at all. They are looking a bit better. They are starting to heart up a little bit, some of them. Yeah, they are hearting up a little bit. That's okay, that's fine. So hopefully we'll get something from here. It's just a case of keeping an eye on the slugs, because there's nothing worse than picking a lovely head of cabbage and then you cut into it and it's full of slugs, it's full of slug feces, it's full of worms, and I absolutely hate it when that happens. Really is the worst. And then you have to start peeling all the leaves off, and you can only actually eat half the cabbage, and you have to wash it really thoroughly before you eat it, and you're only left with like a quarter of what you started with. So yeah, we're going to have to keep a good eye on those, because the slugs have already started on these leaves here. So yeah, what else is there? It's a bit messy over here, guys. I need to sort all these pots out. I'm going to stick them in my shed. I need to tidy my shed. That's why I've not stuck them in there yet. I'm going to tidy my shed and then I'm going to stick them in there. But parsnips, these are looking really good. These have grown a lot over the last few weeks. What I did with these is I actually sprouted the seeds on damp paper towel, and then I planted the sprouted seeds in here March, April time, and they're looking really good. Okay, we're in the big greenhouse now. We've got a few of these alliums drying over here. Got some more beans in here, dwarf beans planted in here. We've got some more lettuce in those modules there. We've potted on our sprout plants, and we're going to plant them outside when we've got space soon, although they are well behind. I'm not expecting too much from those. It's too late now, really. We've got a couple of 30-litre buckets of carrots. I've put some more carrots in here. I actually took this soil from the raised bed in the polytunnel that has the aminopyralid. It's quite sandy, so that's fine. I don't think aminopyralid affects carrots. Well, I hope it doesn't anyway, because we put carrots in here. I found they grow so much better in the buckets than they do in the raised beds outside. Tucked away from the slugs and the root fly. Like these here, these have been really good. We've been picking these for a while now. Really good when there's not much else to pick. But yeah, these have been nice baby carrots. Let's have a look here. We've got our aubergine, which has plenty of flowers on it. Not too much in the way of fruit yet. We'll see. The conditions probably aren't right for proper fruit set yet. Our Alice's Dream Heritage tomato is doing pretty nice there. Of course, we lost most of our heritage varieties, sadly. We managed to salvage this one. The rest of them down here are all hybrids, except for the one on the end, which is a Black Beauty. The Black Beauty one, pretty nice. Look at that. Got some nice tomatoes there. Not huge, but tomatoes nonetheless. That's covered in flowers. Now, I was quite concerned about this last week. Doesn't seem to be getting any worse, which is good, and it looks like it is starting to send out new growth, which is unaffected. So I'm thinking it could be nitrogen burn from the horse manure in the bottom of the containers. Maybe it was too fresh, or it could have just been heat stress when we had the hot weather last week. This one looks fine on the end. There's plenty of tomatoes on there though. Plenty of cherry tomatoes, plenty of flowers. So I think they'll do okay in the end. Okay, let's have a look in the big polytunnel and see what's going on there. There's loads of digging holes in here because I dug some soil out to plant the carrots in the buckets. I thought I may as well try and use this soil for something else. We did put some peppers in here, some spare ones, to see what happens with those. Just to see if they're affected by the aminopyralid, to be honest. It was more of an experiment really, and weirdly enough they seem to be growing, which is really weird. So maybe they're not affected by aminopyralid. We've got some sweet corn here which hasn't grown at all really. The peppers, now we were having problems with slugs. We know it's slugs because we were finding evidence of them everywhere. We opened the pepper up and there were slugs in there. There's loads and loads of slug holes all over the peppers, which is incredibly frustrating. Really, I can't stress enough how frustrating that is, given the fact that we started these off from seed under the grow lights at home early January. We nurtured them and cared for them and watched them every day, potted them up, made sure the moisture was right. You know, I made the potting mix for them and everything, and I kept a close eye on them every single day. And you know the amount of effort and time that has gone into growing these so far is just insane really. You know, the hours and hours that have gone into them, only for the slugs to come along and start nibbling the holes in the peppers. Honestly, I cannot stress enough how frustrating that is. I'm sure many of you have had the same thing before. It's just ridiculous. You know, I've probably put the most time and effort of any crop on the plot this year into peppers, because you know we really do enjoy them. You know, there are some nice fruits on there without the holes in, but you know, I'd say about half of them have been nibbled on. Yeah, I don't know what's happened there. So I've got a bit of a confession to make, guys. Because the slugs were just so relentless. I mean, looking at the holes and the slug damage on the leaves, let alone the peppers, I decided, right, now I don't usually like using slug pellets, and you know, 9 times out of 10 I would not use them, but in this circumstance, you know, with the little amount of time I have to do anything else, and how many plants we have here, and just how bad they were, I had to use some slug pellets. I'm not watering them at the moment because I want to keep the soil dry really. So the slug pellets on there to kill them hopefully, and hopefully they won't travel over it anyway because it's dry. I've made myself a little rule: if I do use slug pellets, it's only if I have to, and it's only under cover or under netting like it is here. I've not spread them outside in the open because I don't want to start killing the wildlife like the birds and the hedgehogs and things. So yeah, it's going to be places like under netting and under cover where they can't really get to it, where they can't really get there. So that's fine, hopefully. I'm just going to use them sparingly. I've done them here with the cucumbers as well because the cucumbers were getting nibbled on really badly. The leaves, look at that. The leaves were getting attacked badly. We've picked a couple of cucumbers off there now so far, but not many. And that's the big polytunnel. Okay, let's go in this small polytunnel. This is the last area of the plot which I'd like to go over. It looks like things are slowly coming along in here. I need to have a good de-weeding session in here. Look at the weeds are everywhere there. Sweet potatoes look like they are slowly coming along in there. The aubergines down here, not really doing much. There are some aubergines starting to grow there, I suppose. A lot of flowers on there as well. The physalis is doing alright. No flowers or anything on there yet. Some slug damage on there, but they are bushing out really nicely. Really quickly, actually. They're doing okay, those. Some sweet corn in there, just as an experiment. I suppose they're doing alright. There's only actually 3 of them doing well there. So we might need to improvise with pollination for those. Got a few tomatoes here, determinate types. Throwing out plenty of flowers there. I just stuck those in because I had space. Same over here as well. I had a bit of space here, so I stuck a tomato plant in there that needs pruning. There, because the watermelons died, so I had to stick some more tomatoes in here. And then we have our butternut squashes. Those I'm getting bitten by red ants, or more stung by red ants. Ow. Real pain. Yeah, so our butternut squashes are doing pretty well actually. I'm surprised at how well they're doing. I'll have to pick that one up. There. Ow, my arm is stinging because of the blimmin' red ants. It's actually a butternut squash on there. Yeah, they're not doing too bad at all really. Look at all those sweet potatoes. Now, I've got to say, I did plant too many in here really. I think I put 4 in each one. I think I should have put less than that, maybe 1 or 2, but that's fine anyway. We're just winging it really with these. We seem to be doing pretty well there. Hopefully we get something. I'll be happy with anything from these really. I'll be happy with a handful of sweet potatoes from these. But they seem to be doing quite well. They're climbing up the supports anyway. We've still got our garlic over here, which we need to sort out. As I said earlier, they are better than last year's. We've been eating a few of these now. We've been cooking with them. Not the biggest, but better than last year, nonetheless. So yeah, that was this week on the allotment, and that's how things are looking at the moment. Not very good at all, to be honest. Not happy with how things are doing this year compared to normal. I was looking back at pictures of this point last year and the years before that, and honestly it looked so much different this time on those years. You know, it's usually nice and green and lush and everything's usually growing nicely, and we've usually harvested much more by now. Things are really behind this year and it's very frustrating. You know, it's a very time-consuming thing having an allotment anyway, and keeping on top of it, and a lot of effort goes into growing everything and caring for everything. So it is very frustrating when things don't go well, and when you don't really harvest much. It's very annoying, and especially when you work full-time and you have a family and you're busy anyway. Like there's many jobs I need to do. Like I need to tidy the shed. The shed is a bit of a mess. I need to tidy that. I'm wanting to make some pallet compost bays with these pallets. I've got about 12 pallets, which I'm going to make some compost bays with. So do let me know in the comments below how things are doing for you. I know a lot of people are having the same issues with crops not growing. Things are really slow. We've had the herbicide aminopyralid, which has set us back a lot with our tomatoes, a real pain, and hopefully things improve. That's all we can do, isn't it? We can just hope that things get better. And if they don't get better this year, we can just hope and pray that things are better next year, can't we? That's what we do. We just carry on, keep our chin up, and hope for better days. So, not the best update, not the most optimistic and positive update, but it's realistic. It's showing you how things really are. You know, you look on Instagram and see pictures that people have put on, and everything looks perfect and everything looks good. But there are failures and there are successes. A lot of failures this year, and I'm just going to show you how it really is. I'm going to try and be as transparent as I possibly can. So I still hope you enjoyed this video nonetheless. I hope you found it interesting. I hope maybe you learned something from it. Do let me know in the comments below what you think. And if you want to learn to grow your own food and you want to follow my allotment journey, then hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon as well. That way you'll never miss when I upload new videos in the future. And that's all for now, guys. I will see you in the next one. Hopefully it's a better update than this. I hope you all stay safe and happy gardening.